Hello guys, welcome to this video of thumbnail design, and in this video we are going to be designing this thumbnail. So without further ado, let's get started. By the way, the assets that I used to create this thumbnail will be linked in the description below. Feel free to download it and then follow along. So first we are going to name our file. I'm gonna call it tutorial1 and the dimensions are gonna be 1920 by 1920 by 1080. Resolution, I'm gonna put it to 300. Make sure your color mode is 16-bit. And so yeah, now let's just create. So first we are going to start by creating the background of our thumbnail, and for that I'm going to be pasting this picture of graveyard because we want to show the seriousness. I'm just gonna delete this. I'm gonna call it BG for background. First thing I would like to do is blur it, and for that we're gonna go filter and Gaussian blur to it. I will be blurring it for like 4 pixels. Yeah, 4 pixel blur seems nice. And then once the blur is added, I am going to add noise to it. So now our background is almost ready. Then it's time to bring our, so one thing you might have noticed that this background looks very bright. To darken it we can use different techniques, but the most easiest way to do it is just add an adjustment layer. I'm gonna call it darkening or just darken, and in this layer I'm going to take brush. So I just pressed B on my keyboard to get this brush. You can also click on this brush icon. Make sure the hardness is 0, size is 700 for me, and then opacity I have kept it to 30%. Mode is normal, flow is 100%, and I have selected the black color in the foreground. So now we just gonna darken it like this in some places. Just tapping it, I'm not even dragging my cursor. You can do it like this. So now we have a background almost ready, and then I will be using a grunge this is the grunge. If you have also downloaded the asset folder from the description below, then you also have the access to these asset files. I'm just gonna drag this grunge file here, and right now it looks not okay because the grunge is black. We can fix it. First of all, you can actually make it white, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the divide blend mode to make it white, and then I'm slowly going to decrease the opacity of this thing to have an effect like this is old picture. Now I'm going to bring my subject. This is a subject. Once the subject is here, I'm gonna rasterize it. The reason I'm rasterizing this layer is because I want to remove the background. If you do not rasterize the layer, then you will not get this remove background option. But there are like in Photoshop there are several ways to removing the background. This is the most fastest method that I have found. So whatever you bring to the Photoshop, first rasterize it, and then in the properties panel you can go to Windows and then click on properties panel, and then it's gonna be right here. And then you just under the quick actions click on the remove background button and let it do its magic. Yeah, well, it's not clearly done because you can see the green fringes on the outlines of our subject, and we can remove it. Easiest way to remove it is gonna be, first of all, press Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and then click on the mask, and then go to the select modify. We are going to modify the mask, and we are going to contract it by 2 pixels. So yes, we have contracted our selection by 2 pixels, and then we are going to go to select again and then inverse the selection. Everything else is selected but not this subject layer. Then on your keyboard press Alt and backspace. Make sure black is your foreground color. Press Command and D to deselect, Command or Control D, and then you will see that the green fringes that we have on our subject, they are mostly gone. But still, if you zoom in, then you will see on the hair of our subject there are still some green fringes left out. The most easiest way to remove that is, first of all, you can press Command or Control plus 0. It will center the whole frame. I will be using curves adjustment layer, so you can click here and then add a curves adjustment layer. We are going to fix these green fringes out of his hair. You can darken it by pulling this straight line down. I can darken it a bit more. Now, okay, let me just also rename it darken here. It is very important to rename your layers and also to organize it. Right now you can see the layers are not that organized. We are gonna fix that in a moment. But first click on the mask button and then Command or Control I. We are inverting the mask. Simple motto that you can remember is black hides and white shows. Earlier, because the mask was white, everything was darkening up, but now we have inverted the mask by pressing Control or Command I. So now the mask is black, so that is why the effect of the curves are not visible. You can press X to toggle these foreground and background colors here, or you can also press this arrow. I'm going to be pressing X. So now white is my foreground color. I'm going to click on B key, so I'm going to select brush tool by pressing B on my keyboard, and then I'm going to decrease the size by pressing the left bracket key, and now I'm just gonna paint it on the hair of my subject, just like that. There you go. You can actually clip it on the subject layer because background was also getting affected by it. Now whatever changes you will make will only be limited to the subject. I'm gonna press it and I'm gonna press H key on my keyboard for hand tool so that I can just move this, and I will be switching back to the brush tool. And now I'm just going to paint with white so that now you can see the green that we had earlier, the green, it's slowly disappearing. That is what we want. If you want to increase the opacity a bit, you can. I'm gonna make it 50 and then I'm gonna use the brush tool. Yeah, and by the way, as you can see that you might also have applied the darkening effect on the subject's forehead as well. So we can fix it by again pressing X key on your keyboard, bringing this black button and just taking it and just removing it one by one. Now when I press Command 0, when I fit the frame, our subject looks good. This is the before, this is the after. Now what you can do is just grunge, darkening and background. These are all the layers that are affecting the background. So I'm going to make a group of it by pressing Command or G, Control plus G. I'm going to name this group BG because all the layers that are in this group associated with the background. So now what else I'm gonna do is subject layer that I have. First of all, you can actually click on the mask and hide on your subject. So now as you can see, the hair of our subject is fixed. It's black now, black or brownish. Thing to do is to add face touches to our subject. And the way we are going to do is by clicking on the subject twice. You can actually make it a smart object so that when we click on the subject, it opens a dedicated page with only the subject so that we can work on it distraction free. Just gonna zoom in, make adjustment layer. I'm gonna call it touch ups. So the first tool that we're using to get his face for thumbnail ready is the spot healing brush tool. You can find it here and then just tap on the areas to fix them. Again, left bracket key to decrease the size of your brush. This nose, not really, so I'm fixing his Adam's apple. And other than that, there are no other spots that I can think of fixing right now. The other tool that I'm gonna use is a patch tool. You can use patch tool to remove the blemishes. And by the way, if you're using the patch tool on an adjustment layer, make sure it is set to content aware and not normal, because otherwise it won't work. And make sure the sample all layers toggle box is checked as well. So now I'm just gonna do it like this. Again, I'm patching up the blemishes. This is what I have yet to patch. Okay, after the patch tool, let's do dodging and burning. And for that, I'm going to create another curves layer and I'm going to darken it. That is, I'm going to burn the areas of the face that needs shadows, or in other words, the blacks of the face. I'm going to click on the mask and invert it. Then I'm going to use the brush tool. White should be the foreground color. Opacity. Flow can be, I think, 15. Opacity is gonna be 15 as well. You can make the flow 50 as well. Let's go with 35 because we want some subtle effects on his face. Let me decrease the size of the brush and I'm painting on his nose, under his lips, something like that. This part also must have a shadow, something like that. I'm also doing it like this. His ears as well and some shadows, some black areas here as well. His eyebrows, Need some black here. Now you must be thinking that nothing is happening. That is true until and unless you disable this burn layer, and that's when you see the depth on his face. We can also add some depth to his hairline as well. Now that burning is done, I'm gonna repeat the same thing with dodge, but this time for dodging, I'm gonna brighten the face up. I'm gonna call it dodge. Click on the mask, invert the mask by pressing Ctrl or Command I. I have white as my foreground color, opacity is 15, flow is 35. I'm gonna brush up his cheeks a little bit to brighten them up a little bit. And this is how the forehead part as well. Make some brightening up. Dodging is really important on the cheeks and forehead actually. We can add some on chin as well. Cheeks. Now if you think that nothing is happening, then try turning off the dodge layer. The face looks bright. So yeah, with that we are almost done. I'm just gonna create a merge layer out of it. So you can actually create a smart object as well. Just create a smart object, and when you click on save by pressing Ctrl or Command S, and then you go back to your main layer, your main file, then you will see the difference. Now our subject is almost ready. Let me just group these two layers, and I'm gonna call it my subject. So whenever you are moving a group, make sure, or anything for that matter, make sure you press Command or T, Control or T, to enable the transform options. So when the transform options are enabled, you will see these check mark or this cross icon. Now you can easily drag your subject layer. I'm gonna zoom it a bit like this. Our background is ready, our subject is almost ready. The next thing to do is add the tombstone. You will also have this PNG pic of a tombstone right here. You're gonna just drag it up like this, and yeah, now to make it actually a bit wider, because I need to fit some text here, and this part of the thumbnail is already seems like filled up, but this left side of the thumbnail seems quite empty. We don't want that. We want to use the thumbnail real estate as effectively as possible. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to select the layer. I'm going to call it stone, and then I'm going to press Ctrl or Command T to bring transform, and then press Command again and just drag it a little. So something like this. You would want to create a trapezium that works. So it gives it a kind of 3D effect. You can increase the size of it, but we are going to paste the text on it, but we are also going to leave some room for the text as well. So I think it looks good. Yeah. So now we also have this thing which is embodied in the tombstone. I don't know what you call it. We are going to remove it for our purpose because we would want to paste the logo of Google there. I'll show you a very easy way to remove it. You just use the patch tool and create a patch around it like that. And by the way, because since we have this as a smart object, patch tool doesn't work on smart objects, so you might want to rasterize it first. Once it is a normal layer, then feel free to just drag it and it's gone, like it wasn't even there. So now what else we are going to do is to bring our Google logo. But I think before we bring the Google logo, this stone doesn't look like it belongs in this picture because it's too bright. We can actually fix it. I'm gonna go to filters, convert for smart filters. I'm going to blur it a bit. Yep, 1 pixel blur, and then I'm going to add some noise to it. 2% noise seems good. And now last but not the least, I'm going to draw some shadows on this thing. So I'm going to have some, and the way to do that is by using the brush tool and just lightly clicking it. That's how you do it. There you go. Now it does feel like that this belongs to this picture. So something like that. We also have to add shadow to our tombstone. This is too much to decrease opacity. That's it. On subject layer as well, I'm going to add some shadow. On subject layer it looks good. And now I'm going to bring our Google logo and I'm going to paste it right here. But they are like, we have to do certain things here. First, this Google logo is very flat. It doesn't mix well with the rest of the image. And the other thing is that it is very centrally aligned. We would want to change the perspective of it by pressing Shift key. First of all, you click the Google logo layer, just call it Google, and then you press Command Control T, and then you can press the Command key again to change the perspective a bit, something like that. Or we can decrease the size of it as well. Yeah, this looks good. And now, first of all, this darkening in stone, you can put it in a group. I'm gonna call this group stone. And then we have the Google layer. There are a few things that you need to do here. First of all, make a copy, and I'm going to use soft light here, and you feel like nothing is happening because this normal layer is over, right? And I will be using hard light on this thing. So now you can see that it is showing the unevenness of the stone as well. Now it doesn't look like we are just pasting it. We can do now is put them in a group, call it logo. In that group, I'm going to use certain effects. If you go to filter, convert for small filters, Google copy. So now I am going to blur the top layer by, let's say, 2%. 1% is fine. And then I'm also going to apply some grain to the top layer by adding noise. 2% noise, 2% noise is good. Then I'm going to add drop shadow. It's too much drop shadow. I'm going to decrease the spread a lot. Distance. I'm also going to decrease the size of it. Okay. Now still it looks quite better, but still it doesn't feel like, this Google logo is engraved in the tombstone. So for that, what we are going to do is I'm going to double click on the logo layer and then click on bevel and emboss. In the style panel, you can select the pillow emboss. I think by default it is like outer or inner bevel. So now it does feel like it is engraved out in the tombstone, but this effect is too much. I'm gonna first of all decrease the opacity and then change the angle a bit. Yep, increase the depth so that it feels like it is deeply engraved. It is too much. 147, how about 100? Depth can be 100, still too much. Let's go 50. 50 seems nice. We can also soften things up. I'm not gonna soften it, it looks weird. Size you can increase or decrease, and there we have our effect. Again, where you want to move a folder, press Command or Control T and then move it. And yeah, now it looks good. Not the perfect. We can deal with the shadows later. You can if you want. Just want to change the angle a bit. Something like that. And this it looks good. Now it's time for the text of page. I'm gonna click it. You can press T to bring the text layer. And then what I'm gonna do is under the properties panel, I'm going to click on this double T icon. It is going to capitalize all the characters, and I'm going to change the font, the Baroni font. I'm gonna make it semi-bold, and then the tracking I'm going to set it to -40, and the color I'm gonna make it black. So yeah, I'm gonna place it like here, but obviously we need to change the perspective of this text as well. So Command Control T, and by pressing Command again or Control again, just bring it down like this. Okay, looks much better. Now I'm just gonna press Alt key on my keyboard and then drag it, and then I'm going to writing SEO, so increase the font size just like that. Now let's start working on this. The first thing that I'm gonna do is add some drop shadow. Again, you can add drop shadow like this. Then I'm going to make this layer a soft light one, again to see that the blended effect. But now if you notice that it doesn't look very sharp, it looks like it's blended up way too much. So in order to deal with that, I'm going to duplicate the layer by pressing Command plus J on my keyboard. When we have the copy, the top layer, you would want to set it to hard light and then decrease the opacity by 50%. This is going to darken it. So if I disable this layer, you can see it is very light now. But when we copy it one more time and then we set the opacity to 50%, then 50% it looks good. We still get the effect. It is not copy pasted. We are going to do the same thing on SEO as well. I'm going to duplicate this layer, use hard light, and going to drop the opacity to 50%. SEO 50%, hard light, and that is soft light. Okay, now I'm going to make a group of this thing and call it SEO, and then again the group of these two layers I'm going to call it off page. Now what we are going to do is we're gonna bring it a bit on top, and then I'm going to bring this SEO thingy up as well. So yeah, it looks good now. Can decrease the opacity if you feel like it. Let's go 70. 70 feels nice. And for the SEO layer as well, increase the opacity to 70% because it was looking way too light for me. It looks good now. Another thing that I want to add is add some, yeah, now it looks good, bevel and emboss effect on this thing as well. So again, it looks good. Now I'm just gonna press Alt on my keyboard and drag it to the SEO as well so that it can have the same effect. I'm going to bring it down. It looks good. So now we have that ready. What we are going to do is write our text. I need to press T, page SEO is. Right now we can't see anything, so just select everything and make it white so that it is visible on the screen. So I'm going to change the font to Anton here. You can actually make it 0 because the tracking is already very less. Yeah, it looks good now. Off page SEO. I'm just gonna drag this layer and write that. Increase the size of that a bit. Fix the alignment. Yep, like that. And decrease the size of it. Okay, so it like this. Now, what we are going to do is add a drop shadow and then add a stroke as well. 5 stroke black, it looks good. I need outer glow as well. In outer glow, I'm going to change the color to black, and yeah, everything looks good. So the same effects that I have, I'm dragging and drop it to dead. So we got everything else. I'm going to introduce a gradient overlay to this thing as well. I already have the gradient. Basically, you have white here and then you have some gray here. If you click on this box, you can select white, and if you click here, then you will be able to select this gray. Click OK, and then you have the gradient in place. For dead, I'm just going to use a color overlay. I already have the red selected. You can copy the hex code if you want. And yeah, another thing that I want is I'm going to change the drop shadow of this text. I'm going to increase the opacity. Make sure your use global light is off. And yeah, you can also drag and move the shadow directly from your cursor. This is what I did. Now it looks almost okay. The other two things that are missing is this arrow that we have and this arrow. Now if you notice that this arrow has a gradient which I don't like, I'm going to use color overlay, and it has selected the same color that I used for dead. We also need drop shadow. I can also add a bit of a stroke to this. The stroke on the arrow can be a bit less, maybe 2. Now I don't like the way this arrow is ending, so what I'm gonna do is select arrow. I'm gonna increase this thing, and I will be using this rectangular marquee tool. Use it like this and then click on. This is a smart object, so I made a mask. Now to apply the mask, you are going to rasterize this layer, then apply the mask. So now we got rid of that arrow. Control Command T to bring the transform controls, and yeah, it looks good now. Okay, I'm going to bring this text a bit up like that. On page SEO, off page SEO is done. It looks good. Now what's left to do is to make those little arrows. For that, I'm going to be bringing this thing right here, and I need a circle. First of all, we got that. Group this text and call it headline. So this is headline, and then I'm going to be creating a circle by holding shift so that I get a perfect circle. The circle is in white. I want it actually in red, so you can just click here and use a recently used color. Now it's gonna go below arrow, and there you go. I'm going to change the arrow color to white by adding a color overlay, and then we select white, and we have our arrow ready. I can also group it. I can also group the layers, but what I'm gonna do is merge these two layers So now we got arrow down, and then okay, that's good. I'm going to bring some drop shadow as well as some outer glow. The outer glow I want is obviously of red color. These are my glow settings: 49% opacity, noise 7%. Can maybe drop the noise a bit to 3. Yeah, that's set. I'm gonna hold the Alt key on my keyboard and then drag it like that. This one I'm going to increase the size of it like this. The arrow, you can rotate it. I can bring SEO down. Again, you have to click on the SEO folder, control command T transform, and increase it like that. Okay. Again, click on SEO, control command T, good enough. And then for off page, control command D, you can bring this down as well. You can increase the size. Okay, too much. Yeah, perfect. Now once everything is done, time to organize our layers. We got these two arrows. We have arrow down as well. Wait, this is arrow down. So these two arrows, I'm gonna again make a group by pressing shift. I'm gonna call it arrows down, and then we have this arrow which is related to, I believe, I'm gonna put it in the headline group as well. So the last thing I'm gonna do is add adjustment layer. I'm gonna call it vignette and press B for brush. Black is the foreground color. Opacity is 15. You can increase it to 37 maybe. Make sure you're using the brush tool. Flow can be 100, and that's how. I'm just gently tapping and creating a vignette effect. It is very important, just like that. Now, one thing that I noticed is that this arrow that I have, it can actually pull it down, increase the size maybe, something like that. Okay, so this arrow, I believe we can, lower it a bit, and then that text can go like this. I'm just gonna add some grain on my text. So off page SEO is my text. I'm gonna be adding some blur to it first. To smart object like that, and then I will be adding some noise. 2% noise is good, and I'm going to copy the effects of this to that as well. So now we have this sort of look. The last thing that you want to do is press your last click on your last layer, then shift alt command E. This is going to merge everything, and now we are going to use camera raw filter on this layer. I'm going to increase the contrast and exposure, decrease the highlights a bit, shadows, blacks, temperature. I'm going to make it a bit of blue. Texture, I'm going to add it just a tad bit. Clarity, I need to increase. Grain we already have, but you can increase if you want. I will be adding it by 1%. Vignette you can add more by decreasing the thing. So I do think that, let's see, minus 19 works well. I'm going to sharpen the image, and then we have vibrance. I'm going to use it. I'm going to increase the saturation as well. Grain, you can texture. Okay, clarity, we have almost everything. Looks good now. If you press this, you can see the before and after, and then hit OK, and that's how you will get a complete design. And this is how you create this amazing thumbnail design which is ready to boost your CTR through the roof. And subscribe to the channel if you get value from this video. I will continue to upload more videos. This is my first ever video, so of course it's not perfect, I know, but my future videos I'm going to keep increasing the quality and keep bringing more value to you guys.